Hi, it's Beefy. I was asked a question about one of my Instagram posts, and that was how I looped my cloth simulation, and there's a couple of ways to do this, but I just want to run through how I achieved this, and that's with the point cache tag. Before we crack on, I would like to welcome you viewers to the channel. If this is your first time here, then it's a place where I post tutorials, tips and other stuff. If you're into Cinema 4D, X Particles, After Effects and the like, then you're in the right place. I'm just sharing the knowledge that I picked up along the way. We're all constantly learning, and it's great that we can do this together. If you haven't done so already, then please subscribe to the channel and tick on the notification bell so you don't miss out on future uploads. And if you like this video, then please give it a big thumbs up. It will help my videos get seen by the algorithm thingy, and in turn that will help others find my videos. And a big thanks to everyone who's taken time to subscribe and like my videos. You guys are awesome, thank you. So I'm working in Cinema 4D 2023, but you can use any version of Cinema 4D, I believe, to use this technique. I know that the point cache tag was around in R20 because I used it quite a lot back then. The point cache tag is something that's hidden away in the menu here, and you may not even know that it exists, and it kind of works the same way as the cache system in a project or in a simulation tag, etc. It works in the same way, but with the point cache you have more options to play around with, and you can actually use it to loop animations, particularly cloth, which is really handy. So I'm just going to go through this scene quickly. So I have this plane here, and this is my flag, and I'm just going to show you the dimensions of this. And the parameters of this flag is 150 centimeters by 90 centimeters, and the segments are 20 by 20, and I set the orientation to +Z. So this is my original object here. So I made a copy of this and I made it editable here. So this is my plane here that you can see in the viewport here, and this is my flag. And I applied a cloth tag to this. This is one of the new simulation tags, and this technique will work with anything that you're manipulating the points with. So you can use the old bullet system, or you can actually apply deformers, effectors or expressions to your object and record the points that way. So this isn't specific for the new cloth tag. Now, because this is a flag, I actually set my points here on one side. So if I come into the cloth tag here and I come to the dresser here, I set the points here. So I made a selection in point mode and I fixed the points here using that. Now this side of the object is going to be fixed and it's not going to move. So this is going to behave like a flag. And the only thing I'm using in the cloth tag here is the surface, and I'm leaving everything as default. The only thing I changed is the thickness, and that's because I didn't want any tight rolls in my flag here. I just wanted to make sure that my animation wasn't too complicated, and you'll find that that's going to work in your favor when you're using this technique. If you have a lot of movement with your points in this animation, you can get some intersections when you're actually looping this. And the only thing controlling this flag is, if I just come to my project settings here, if I come to the simulation tab in the scene, you can see that I'm using the gravity, which is the standard, and also I'm using a wind object here. And this wind, I set the wind speed to 1000 centimeters. Turbulence is around about 19%, turbulence scale was around 20%, and turbulence frequency is 71%. And the mode is in aerodynamics wind. So in real life, wind isn't constant, so I added a vibrate tag and enabled the rotation, so the wind is moving around, so we get some nice variation in our flag there. So if I play this now, you can see that the wind is moving around and we've got some nice action in our flag here. So this is a fairly basic setup. It's not a great flag. I probably can define this a little bit more and make this look a bit more interesting, but this is basically my flag here. As you can see, this doesn't loop. So this is what we're going to sort out now. Now I've already cached my animation here. So in my cache here, I've actually enabled the cache and that's checked on there. So I can actually turn off the wind here. I don't actually need to see that. And I have my flag here, and that's all cached. So before I cached it as well, I set the initial state. So if I come into the dresser again, I can set the initial state of my flag. As you can see on frame 0, nothing's happening to this object here, but that's not going to interfere with our looping. So that's basically the flag set up there. So what I need to do now is I need to loop this, and I find that with the new cloth simulations that applying the point cache tag doesn't work so well. So what I'm going to do, the workaround for that is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the plane here and I'm going to drop that into my dope sheet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a copy and I'm going to record the keyframes for the motion of my flag. So with my plane dropped into my dope sheet, I'm just going to come to functions and I'm going to break the object. And by default, it comes in like this. So I want to create a copy, and also I want to record all the parameters. And then I'm going to click OK. So now we have our keyframes for our object there. So I can just turn off my plane now. I don't need to see that. So I just got my copy now. And this is the only thing we see in the viewport here. So I have my animation being driven by my keyframes there. So what I want to do now is I want to loop this. So I'm just going to apply the point cache tag. I'm going to come to rigging and apply that there. So if you're using another version of Cinema 4D, your point cache tag will be in a different place. But for me, it's under rigging tags. So with that applied, everything's grayed out. That's because we want to store the state. So we can start this at any keyframe that we want. But because I'm applying this to the whole animation, I want to start this on frame 0. So I'm going to make sure I am on frame 0 and I'm going to set the state. And now all this is available for me. And all I need to do now is I need to click calculate, and this is going to go through each frame and record my points. So that was fairly quick there. So now I have a copy of my plane, and I like to make a copy because if I don't have that checked, then I would destroy this plane as it is. And if I want to go back and make some changes, then I don't have that option anymore. And the other thing now is that now this is calculated, this is the how much memory has been used, which is 3.65 megabytes. Now that we have that information stored, I can now switch off my keyframes. So if I turn them off in the dope sheet here, the animation is now being driven by the point cache tag, which is pretty amazing. So using the point cache tag is really handy. So if you're using a deformer, an effector or an expression to animate your points in your object, you can actually use the point cache tag and then you can just delete your deformers or effectors or get rid of your expressions, etc. So this actually streamlines your project here. So it will tidy up your object manager here. And also when you're rendering with Octane, I find Octane is glitchy with MoGraph sometimes. So if you record all the points, etc., you don't have that problem. Okay, so this is a really good tag to have here. So that's all recorded there now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through a couple of things in this tag. I'm going to make a follow-up video and I'm going to go through some other things here. But basically you have your enable here. So once you've calculated, that's checked on. So if I uncheck that, nothing happens. Fairly straightforward. So use deformer if you're using the point cache deformer here. I'll be going through that in the next tutorial. And also if you have some position, scale and rotation on your object in your animation, you can actually record that as well. But with this unchecked, you're only recording the points relative to the object. Everything's self-explanatory here, so if you want to compress your memory here, you can just check that. You've got store state, restore, calculate, update, empty cache. You can also save your information and put it into a new project, and you can load your information from your source there into your project. Auto time is checked because I'm just going from frame 0 to frame 360. If you want to record from say 120 to 200, then you need to uncheck this and put that information into your fields there. You can offset your animation as well, so once you've calculated, you can make it start 20 frames earlier or 20 frames later. It's up to you. Scale, you can actually change the speed of your animation there. But these I'm going to go through in the next tutorial. And the ones I'm going to be using today is loop and blend. At the bottom here we have cache, and I shall read what's in the manual here. So it says, use this setting to define the size of the cache made available for undos. If no limit is set, your computer's memory can quickly be brought to its knees. So I'm leaving that alone. I don't need to change that. So we're just going to look at loop and blend here. So I'm just going to show you something quickly. I'm just going to change my project to 0 to 720 and just bring up my preview up here. And if I just come down to the end of my animation here, it stops. So if we actually loop this 2 times, then that means that this is going to loop twice. So I'm just going to come back to the beginning and I'm going to change this to frame 360 again. So now we have this looping, we can now blend. So what blend's going to do is going to look at loop 1 and loop 2. It's going to find the median between the points. So if I set this to 50%, we're going to get a very similar animation. And it's now going to loop, which is pretty cool. So bearing in mind, frame 0 and frame 360 are exactly the same. So if I just pop that back in the preview to 359, we're going to get a seamless loop. So my project is now 12 seconds long. So that's basically it. That's how you loop your cloth animation. So going back to my cloth tag here, I said that I set my thickness to 10 centimeters. And if you have like a lot of erratic movement or you have really tight curls, etc., you're going to get intersections. So this is why I wanted to have some nice big rolls in my flag here so that this loops seamlessly. So just play around with that, just find what's going to be good for you. Because if this doesn't work using this, you may need to change your initial animation on your flag or whatever cloth that you're playing around with. But that's basically it. So I'm going to leave this here. So in the next video, we're going to be looking into the point cache tag and the point cache deformer. And I'm just going to show you a few things that will help you there. But that's basically it, and thanks for watching the video, and I hope you like this video, and if you do, then give it a big thumbs up, and I shall see you in the next video. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Hopefully what I've shown you today will help you in your future projects. If you like what you've seen, then please give this video a big thumbs up. Like, subscribe, and tinkle that notification bell so you don't miss out on future content. It will help the YouTube algorithm thingy help others find my content. Also, you can check out my latest experiments, concepts and dailies on Instagram at Almost Daily Render. And as always, any feedback and questions, please leave them in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and if you have any problems, I'll be glad to help. And while you're here, you can check out my other content. Thanks for watching, and I shall see you in the next video.